I'm Neil, and welcome to our boating industry video news. We aim to bring you interviews and panel discussions with key people across the industry to help keep you informed and up to date on matters affecting the boating sector. Today, we're able to catch up with BIA President Darren Bowe. Hi, Darren, and thanks for your time.
Hi, Neil. Good to be here.
The COVID-19 has caused a major disruption to our industry. How would you describe the impact across the sector?
I think it's actually worth having a look at the context, because we actually started off with a pretty tough summer with the fires that were occurring. Then we moved from extreme weather events through February, and we thought, right, let's go. Let's get into 2020, and then COVID-19 came along. And I think that's caught a lot of people by surprise, and it's had a big impact, obviously, on everyone. But I think we need to put this in context. I think in Australia, we've done extremely well, and that's because our community, including the boating community, has seen how important it is to heed the stay-at-home message. And as a consequence, we've done so much better than other places in the world. So I think we can be greatly satisfied now that boating itself is actually a great way to be able to practice social distancing and to be safe. So it's been really tough on our businesses, on our industry, but I think we're primed now for the recovery pathway.
The road to the new normal, as they call it, is going to be critical for all of us. How do you see the key steps to that recovery?
Well, I think the first part of that is that we're very fortunate. Boating is actually an ideal activity to conduct while you've still got these issues associated with social distancing, with the need to exercise practices of disease control. So you can get out on a boat. The boat, by definition, has isolation. You can be there with your family. You can be there with your friends, providing you practice the appropriate hygiene and social distancing rules. I think the boating activity is going to be a great way for families to be able to connect, and for friends to be able to connect, because a lot of the options that people had before in terms of how they recreated and how they released, well, they've gone away. Overseas holidays, well, that's still a long way away because of the border controls. Cruises, same thing, a long way away because of hygiene and various other border controls. And I think that as a consequence, boating is perfectly poised to be able to address that. I think we need to be cognizant of, though, that the fact that the industry itself has a number of challenges. We can't have our traditional pathways to engage with our consumers this year because we can't hold the boat shows that have been such an important part of our industry. And so as a consequence, we've got to find new ways to connect with consumers, new ways to demonstrate and show our products and our lifestyle to new consumers so that we can get them engaged in boating. And I think that's the biggest challenge that sits in front of us right now.
And as to the future of boating, in Australia, how do you see the next 5 years?
Well, it's actually really interesting, because before all of this, I thought that we were absolutely heading down a pathway of a rapid pathway of increased progress towards shared ownership, peer-to-peer, those type of activities. But I think in some respects, COVID-19 is a bit of a reset button. I think that there'll be a move back to people wanting to own their own boat, to use their boat with their friends and just their immediate family. That's not to say that the existing models and processes will not occur, because shared ownership, clubs and various other things are a great pathway into boating. But I think boating generally will actually see a resurgence, because I think people will recognise how that boating as an activity is just such a great thing to be able to do with your friends, with your family, at home, in terms of the way that you can do domestically and things like that, to travel with your boat regionally and interstate, to go interstate to enjoy boating activities. So I think, that will actually be a certain change in direction. The future is slightly different now than it was, say, if you'd asked me this question at the end of last year. But I think from a boating point of view and an engagement with the consumer point of view and a growth point of view, I think boating is actually in a stronger position now, looking to its future, than it was then.
It's certainly, with the emphasis that'll shift to domestic travel, it'll open up all sorts of opportunities, and with a lot of horsepower from both state and federal governments driving that tourism. So it'll be the next couple of months, the next 6 months, in fact, the next 12 months will be a great opportunity. You're right. And just finally, because we are trying to keep these little chats quite short, finally, what is the one thing about boating that just keeps you coming back? The thing that makes you so passionate about the sector?
Well, I think it's just, look, the person that described this better than anyone else was Wallace J. Nichols when he delivered his book, Blue Mind. And I think, to me, we live in very busy life. We have very busy lifestyles. We're involved in a whole range of different things. But it's that point when I get onto my boat, onto a PWC, out with friends, then time extends. I feel relaxed. And I think, to me, boating is the antithesis or the antidote to our modern life. And I think that it's one of those times when you can get out, you can connect, you can relax, you can engage with your friends and engage with your family and just take some time out. It's the recharge that we all need. And I think it's become more important now than ever. And that's certainly how what I do with my boating and how I enjoy my boating.
Certainly, I think the way you've just described it, certainly that's the feeling I think that we can need to tap into, of all those people who have been bottled up in isolation for so long, and to make them realise the benefits of the social and also the economic benefits and all the other benefits that come from getting out on the water. So Darren, thank you, and thank you for helping us kick off what is the BIA's video news.
My pleasure. Thank you.